What are our core values and how can they help us in our finding purpose from our adversity? And how does that all together actually help build our resilience from whatever trauma that we've lived through? Y'all, this is lesson 7 of 10 in our research-based resilience curriculum for our breast cancer patients. We are walking through this together one step at a time. So let's go. Let's do it.
But on this ocean, every wave brings you closer to home. And no matter what you think, you are never alone.
Hey y'all, welcome back. This is lesson 7 of 10 in our research-based resilience curriculum for breast cancer patients. And in today's class, we're talking about that 5th pillar in finding purpose. Quick review, the research shows that in order to grow and build our resilience, we need to strengthen these areas. There are 6 of them. So the 6 pillars are self-care and compassion, supporting connection, positive effect, healthy coping, finding purpose, and mindfulness. And of course, today we are talking about that finding purpose element to it. I want to start today's class with 2 quotes from Lisa TerKeurst's book, It's Not Supposed to Be This Way, Finding Unexpected Strength When Disappointments Leave You Shattered. The first quote is from page 84. She says, "If you have ever experienced an unexpected darkness, a silence and stillness you aren't used to, know that these hard times, these devastating disappointments, these seasons of suffering are not for nothing. They will grow you, they will shape you, they will soften you." She goes on to write on page 134, "What if the worst parts of your life are actually gateways to the very best parts that you'd never want to do without?" Y'all, this does not mean that we like or appreciate or would want to do over whatever trauma or adversity struck our lives. We don't have to like that boulder, right? We're walking along in our path and then whammo, giant boulder in our way. We don't have to like that, but it's about finding things that we're grateful for around that boulder. So me, of course I'm not grateful for cancer. If I'd given the chance for a do-over, no thanks, not happening, get out of my way. But finding things around that I am grateful for. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the fact that I fell into the care of my doctors when and how I did. I'm even grateful for, rewind all the way back to 9th grade biology. I'm grateful for that teacher because she took a girl that didn't like science to where I liked it, majored in it, and it was that knowledge that for me personally ultimately helped me find my cancer early. So I'm grateful for those things, not grateful for the boulder. We can use these times of great adversity to reunite us with our core values. And the core values, Burkholm says in a resilience curriculum for the great courses, she says that your core values are the bedrock to your resilience. So what are our core values? This is at the heart of who you are. This is what gives your life meaning and purpose, and it's what makes you you, and you hold tight to whatever those values are. And in times of great adversity, it strikes, it hits, you can either let that destroy you, or you can put together those broken pieces into a new beautiful whole, this new mosaic of who you are. And if you do that and you align that with your core values, what makes you, your life have meaning, then you are setting yourself up to heal and to have that resilience. I was told, and I know this is obvious, I should have known it, but we can't go back and undo the past. Of course we can't, because that time machine that I wish that I had doesn't exist. But it would frustrate me because I really wanted to not have had cancer. I wanted the world that I was finding myself in living now to not be, and I wanted to somehow fix that, erase it. And my therapist would tell me, well, we can't go back and undo the things that have happened to us. We can't rewrite our past. Dang it. But y'all, this doesn't mean that we can't control our now. and we can't have hope for our future. And we can also put ourselves together again with that new beautiful whole. How on earth do we do that? Well, we can begin by asking ourselves some of these questions. What can I learn from what just happened to me? How can I grow from it? How can I use it to reunite with my own core values? How can I use my experiences to springboard into a newer, stronger, wiser form of myself? Can I use them in any way to help another? So, in finding purpose, you can use your adversity and you can maybe find purpose that's related to what you went through, but it could be completely unrelated too. Me, for example, I started Keepers of the Flame. I have an online breast cancer resource center. I started a podcast, and of course, I'm putting together this curriculum for you guys. So, my purpose is aligned with what I went through because I am trying to make sure that that next person doesn't feel alone. One of my friends, Margie Singleton, she aligned hers with what she went through from her own experiences as well. Margie, if you don't know, she changed Georgia's law around breast density so that the next woman was empowered with information even further. Of course, there's the Susan G. Komen Foundation, or you could even crochet hats or blankets for people that are in the chemo ward. Because if you've gone through that treatment, you know it's cold in there. You know that not having hair on your head is really chilly, even in August in Georgia. You're cold all the time. So you can use what you've been through and find purpose that way. Or maybe that's not your cup of tea. Maybe you don't want anything to do with breast cancer once you've made it through your treatments. And that's okay too. Just use your experience to reunite your own self with whatever your core values are. Maybe your purpose is, I'm going to help the homeless. Or maybe it's dealing with rescue animals. Or maybe you're going to try to help those pets get adopted. Maybe you're running a food kitchen. Maybe you want to get into nursing, or maybe you want to teach, or whatever it is. It can be completely unrelated to your trauma, but use your trauma to reunite you with your core values and to get involved finding purpose in a way that works for you. So one thing that can help us get there is if we can, with our core values, focusing on the things that we actually have control over. I'm a control freak. I'm sure that's not a surprise. But I am, and it bugged me immensely that there were so many giant things that were happening that I didn't have control over. So I was advised to do this whole control, no control circle. And I encourage you to do it as well. You essentially draw a circle on a sheet of paper, and then you physically write out, and everything that you can control, you write on the inside of the circle. So for me, I can control the fact that I can call my friends. I can go to the doctor's office. I can set up an appointment to see a therapist, right? Things I cannot control would be, I can't control the fact that I had cancer. I can't control whether or not my cancer is going to come back. I can't control my own mortality, which was a scary one for me to swallow because I wanted to somehow get myself this plan that would let me control all of these big things that I didn't have control over. So instead, taking a moment and actually putting them in the correct location on your sheet of paper, either inside the circle or out, depending on if you realistically have control over it. Time was another one. I wanted to hurry up and be healed already. Let me hurry up and be through my treatment and have this in my past. Let me hurry up and be healed emotionally. Yeah, I don't have control over time on the outside of the circle, right? And so I create this whole circle, and then imagine all the things that are on the outside of the circle. Imagine crumpling them up like you would a sheet of paper and tossing them into a box. And then to help with this whole letting go of the things that you can't control and focusing on the ones that you can piece, the ones that you just threw into a box because you can't do anything with them, they're out of your control. Imagine one of two things. either giving them up to a higher power and saying, you got to take these from me because I can't focus on them because I realistically can't do anything about them. Or imagine putting it up on a cloud and watching it float away. In both cases, you shift your attention back to the inside of the circle. Another one for me, y'all, I have the BRCA2 mutation. So my kids have a 50% chance of inheriting it. I don't have control over whether or not they did or did not inherit that mutation. That is completely out of my control. And it bugs me as a mom. But what can I control? Well, I can teach them resilience, right? I can also help try in part to make the world a little bit easier for that next person that comes after me, so that when all of us do that more and more and more, God forbid they have to go through it, it'll be even easier, right? I can teach them that when life hurts, and whatever form that hurt takes, that they are strong enough and they have courage and that they can do hard things. Those lessons I can teach them. Whether or not they have the mutation or not, I don't have control over. So write my circle, let go of the ones I can't, focus on the ones that I can. And in being able to do that, the next part is helping us to find our purpose that's aligned with our core values. So my personal story is when I started thinking about it, my core values, I've always wanted to help make things better. And I always believed that in changing the world, that it happens with these small incremental actions, these small things that we do. Kindness goes a long, long way. This is actually what motivated me to go into teaching. For the first year that I was teaching, anyway, I had my students. A delta triangle means change in science, and I was teaching science, and I actually had my students write on their little deltas ways that they could change the world, right that day, that year. So it could be, I'm going to help my mom with the laundry, or I'm going to be kind to my sister, or I'm going to study really hard this year. Whatever it was, they could be small things, right? Change doesn't have to happen. The world doesn't have to be changed for the better in one big, waha, here you go, world is now better. No, it happens in all these small little things that we do and the kindness that we show to one another along the way. And so for me, that was my core value. That's what motivated me to get into teaching. Years passed, life goes on, and then one day life just gets whoosh, flipped upside down, cancer happens, and I feel like I'm drowning, right? So I'm falling to pieces one day, driving around in my car, like I feel punched in the gut. I am completely freaked out over the fact that I might die. And that terrifies me. What on earth? How can I prepare for all of these things and make sure everybody's okay? And it was a really rotten moment. And I was having a hard time escaping that. And then a song comes on the radio, and it was Randy Travis's song and the Three Wooden Crosses, and I let the lines, I guess it's not what you take when you leave this world behind you. It's what you leave behind you when you go. I let those lines sink in. I don't have control outside of the circle of when my time comes, but I do have control over how I live today. And I reunited with my core values of recognizing that it's those little moments that matter. And I came up with in my head this metaphor of, if each act of kindness is unique in its own beauty, just like a snowflake is unique in its own beauty, no two snowflakes are alike, then when we increase our acts of kindness, then we get to see the snow. And so in my mind, I decided that I wanted to leave behind metaphorical snow. And so then I was able to focus my attention on these small things that I could do. I could listen to a friend. I could revise a paper. I could help with that. Small little things that I could do that day. Funny story about this, y'all. Side note here. But I happened to come to this whole realization. I had this awesome metaphor in my head. I go in for my second surgery, and on the day of my surgery, when I have a lot of anxiety and I'm really afraid of my mortality, they're calling for snow in coastal Georgia. because that happens, right? Like, please, no, I didn't mean it today. Not literally. Anyway, all is fine, but focusing back on those small things that we can do. Again, 3 things. I had to make my circle, focus on the ones that I control, and let go of the others, reunite with my core values, and in doing so, help myself finding purpose. And I strengthen that pillar towards resilience. I want to share one more quote from Lisa Turkhurst. She says on page 221, "Why did this happen? Because there's someone else in the world who would drown in their own tears if not for seeing yours. And when you make one other human simply see that they aren't alone, then you make the world a better place." So your challenge for today, or your homework, if you will, you've got 2. First one, I want you to actually try to write out your own control circle. Write it out. Things you can control on the inside, the ones you can't, let them go. Write them on the outside. And the second thing that I want you to do as your challenge for today is I want you to do some soul searching and to try to brainstorm what is it that is your own core value. Because again, once you know that, that is, as Burkholm said, the bedrock to your resilience. I will see you guys in our next class. Thanks for joining us. Bye.